Hello, welcome everybody. Monday Night Convos with Carrie. So glad to have you here. If you're watching this anytime outside of Monday night, 7:30 to 8:15-ish p.m. Eastern Time, you're watching the replay. So if you comment and I don't respond, that's why. I'm not ignoring you. So for those of you who are live and those of you who are watching the replay, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me or for watching this. Really appreciate it. So we're going to give a little bit of time for some people to arrive. Hey, Leah Marie. Welcome. Ah, thanks for the hearts. Love it. Love it. So tonight we're going to chat about what to do when life hands you lemonades. No, when life hands you lemons. Yeah, what to do when life hands you lemons. Or as I also say, hey, Linz, how do you handle things when you're fed a shit sandwich? Is the other way to say it. So let me just do a couple little housekeeping things here so we can get started. Thank you for sharing, Leah Marie. Yeah, if you can share this video, that would be great. Love to get some more people involved in the convo. Just gonna do a couple things here. Hey, Sarah, welcome. Really good to see you here. Thanks for joining me. Good to see everybody. I'm excited to chat with you. Okay, so we've got a pinned comment at the top of the conversation chat that just reminds you to subscribe to these live videos so you can be notified when I broadcast. To share the video, which would be great. We can get some more people involved in the conversations. And with Facebook, you know, it's really wonky. They need to see a lot of interaction for things to even be shown on people's news feeds. So if I say something that resonates with you or that you like, if you can give me a like or a heart or something, that interaction really helps with this video being seen. Sharing it is fantastic as well. And as I say every week, if there are any topics that you would love to have covered or for us to talk about in the future, you can email me suggestions to carrie@carrierichardson.com. Hey, sweet Karen guy. Welcome. Good to see you here. So yeah, and also, you know, moving forward with the Facebook Live thing on Monday nights, I'm likely going to be expanding on the topic I cover in my weekly newsletter. So my weekly newsletter goes out on Monday mornings, Monday afternoons, and then I do Facebook Live on Monday nights. So if you want to kind of get a jump start on our topic, subscribe to my newsletter. Just go to carrierichardson.com. You can sign up for my newsletter right there. I send it out once a week. And I'll talk about the topic for tonight in my blog post, and then we'll get to expand upon it tonight. So it actually gives you a chance, if you read the newsletter, to send along any questions that you have or thoughts about the topic so I can be sure to address it when we chat on Monday. So I think that might be my housekeeping stuff. Am I missing anything, Melissa?
No, I think you got it.
I think I got it all. According to my handy dandy sidekick, I've got it all. Okay, good. So now I just need to pull up one other thing. Want to have my notes here to be sure to cover anything. So I don't know if any of you had a chance to read my newsletter this week, but it's called Let's Make Some Sweet Lemonade. And it talks about just that, you know, what do you do when life hands you lemons? When you just feel like you're just being dealt blow after blow or challenge after challenge, like how do you rise up to that? And more importantly, what do you do with it? Because what you do with it makes such a difference in how life is going to play out for you moving forward. So in my newsletter, I talked about our situation with the tiny house. And again, some of you may have read about it on Facebook or in the newsletter, that we hired a contractor to help us frame and dry in the tiny house, meaning get it sheathed and the windows and the door in and get it all buttoned up for the winter. So then we could work on the inside. And we had noticed a couple things that weren't great about his work, and we talked to him about it. And he said he'd come back and tweak anything, fix anything. After he did it the first time we went back, we saw a couple other things that needed his attention. in his defense, we didn't point those out beforehand, so we talked to him about those things, and at that point I had said to Melissa, I'm not really comfortable with him coming back to do this, so let's just tell him thanks but no thanks. But he convinced us. He was really convincing, really nice guy. It's a shame that his work does not follow suit, but he really convinced us, like, yeah, this, please, I want to make this right for you. Let me come back and do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to make you happy with the results. And we were like, okay, well, that's pretty good if he's willing to do that. So we agreed. And so he was going to be coming to start some of the work on a Wednesday. And the weekend prior, I had said to Melissa, I wonder if your brother could come by the house. Her brother's a licensed contractor, and just pass his expert eye over it to make sure we weren't missing anything. So he came, looked it over. We missed a lot. And he basically said, this thing needs to come down and be rebuilt. So long story short, those were a big old bowl of lemons that we now had to say bye to the contractor and ask him for our money back. Good news is we're getting our money back, as well as any materials cost that we'll need to repurchase. So that's great news, right? But it didn't go there that easily. I mean, it was relatively easy, but as far as what I'm talking about tonight, when life hands you lemons, like, how do you handle that when that happens to you? It's really easy to question or doubt your dream, if you will. If you're getting challenges, sorry, I'm just looking at notes to make sure I'm not missing any comments. If you're dealt a challenge or several challenges, it's so easy to just want to throw in the towel and say, screw it. You know what? Not going to bother. Guess this isn't for me. Maybe the universe is trying to tell me something, right? It's like, that's the sticking point, right? Like, how do you know when it's time to call it quits and when it's time to persevere and carry on? And that's what I spoke about in my newsletter this week, and I'm going to expand upon here, but it's really easy when things don't go your way or they don't turn out the way you hoped or that you thought that they should. It's really easy to get stuck in the negative spin cycle, right? Where you're just focusing on how shitty the situation is, how unfair it is, how, just how crappy it is, how this kind of stuff always happens to you and you can't seem to get a break. And it's easy to stay in that loop. And the tricky thing is, and this is the important thing to know, is when you get caught up in that loop, it is a loop because you're constantly validating that belief. Like, our brains go on autopilot, and I talked about this a little bit, might have been last week or the week before when we were talking about beliefs, that when, every word you speak, you're planting seeds. And so if this happened to us, and, some of the first things that came up for me was, we are never going to get this thing done because it's been going on for a long time. Or, we're just never going to be able to find the help we need. There are just certain things in this project that we need help with. And, so I was like, see, I knew it. This thing's never going to get finished. We're never going to get the help we need. Those messages started to come up, right? So those negative messages started to come up. And I had to, I let myself go there for a little bit, hang out in that place, just to process my feelings around it. Like, it's okay to be pissed off. Hey, Mary, good to see you here. Oh, I'm glad, but not glad you need this today. So you had a lot of lemons thrown at you today. Yeah. So I think it's totally cool and totally fine to get pissed, have a pity party, like all that stuff, as long as there's a deadline to it, a finite amount of time you allow for that, so you don't get caught up in that loop and attract more lemons. So I let myself go there to process my emotions of like, shit, this sucks. And then I went, okay, it is what it is. Pissing and moaning and bitching and whining isn't going to change my situation. So what can I do with this situation? Now, this wasn't immediate. Again, I hung out in that place of poor me, really pissed. My injustice rage came up. How dare he? All those kinds of things. So Lee Marie said she's had a lot of lemons in the past couple weeks as well. Yeah. Hey, Christine. Good to see you. Yeah, the poor me loop is so easy to get into because it's, the poor me loop is really, it serves us, right? So anytime we're doing something in our lives that we know isn't necessarily for the best, but we keep doing it, it's worth looking at, like, why am I doing this? So the poor me loop is a really effective way to not have to make a change in your life. Hey, Lisa, welcome. So good to see you guys here. Yeah, so that poor me loop gives you permission to not improve your situation, right? If you get into that poor me loop or that victim mentality, which I talk about in my newsletter as well, then you don't ever really have to hold yourself accountable. You know, I could have certainly stayed in the place of anger with my contractor for a whole lot longer than I did. And it still comes in waves. You know, I was at the house today doing some measurements with Melissa, and I was looking around and I'm like, oh, we should have asked for more money back. Like, my anger was still there and I let myself just have it. And then it was like, okay, I had it. Now I'm going to release it. You know, that's the important thing with these kinds of feelings is if you fight them, they stick around longer and they have to, and it's like you're feeding them. But if you just let them in and you let them in, they let you go. Like, that's what I try to remind myself. Instead of fighting my feelings, if I let them in, they let me go. So I let myself be pissed this afternoon about the house again. And it was like, really, maybe a minute and a half. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? We did what we could. We told him about our dissatisfaction. We asked for our money back. We're getting it. Move on. So the thing that I was talking about in my newsletter, hey, Sharon, welcome. All right, so Sharon, 2016 was a year full of lemons. Oh, no shit, right? I think everyone feels that way. I started 2017 thinking positively every day, and it's working. Oh my God, Sharon, I love it. Love it. 2016 sucked, I think, for everyone. I saw that so much on Facebook and just with friends and family. It was a really tough year. And I also know for a lot of people, 2017 hasn't really started off much better. Like, I had a lot of hopes for 2017, but right now it feels like there's a little bit of an extension of 2016, but it's exactly what you're saying, Sharon. Thinking positively every day, as often as you can, it really does work, because what you look for, you find. So when you get tossed these lemons, it's like, okay, I'm going to get pissed at the lemons for a while, and then I'm going to stop and go, okay, what are the lemons trying to tell me? What can I do with these lemons? So I'm going to refer a little bit to my newsletter that I wrote this week to highlight some of these points that we're talking about. So when to get yourself out of that poor me loop, you know, one way that we stay in that cycle is by retelling the story of what happened to you, whatever it is, over and over and over again to others. So retelling that story keeps the negativity alive. I'm not saying you don't share it with people. Absolutely do. You handpick a few people who you know can hold a safe space for you to process your feelings, who aren't going to fuel the fire of anger and negativity. So they really just hold a space for you and go, God, that must really suck. I'm so sorry. Instead of, oh, that's bullshit. I would totally sue that guy. And see the difference? Like, oh, it's so hard. So if you handpick a couple people who hold that space for you and just go, man, that's really shitty. I'm so sorry to hear that. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. Like, that kind of support gets you out of that negativity cycle and that poor me loop. And also, you know, be really careful about sharing it with people who feed on drama. Hey, Jody. There are people who love drama, who love gossip. And so if you share it with people who feed on that kind of stuff, they're the people, and again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with them. I can be gossipy as well, but if you share it with someone who is so interested in all of the nitty-gritty details of the aggravation and the disappointment, well, what happened when he said this, and what happened when you did that, and what parts of the build was wrong? Tell me exactly what he did. And they really want you to dig in to the mess. That's not beneficial. Unless they're building a tiny house, they need some advice. But so really just be selective with who you choose as supportive people who can hold a safe space for you to just have your feelings. That helps you not get caught up in the negativity cycle as well. So now I want to talk about how can you see these lemons that are being tossed your way, or the shit sandwich that you're being served, as an opportunity, any kind of opportunity for growth, improvement. Yeah, and I know that sounds far-fetched, but stay with me here. So if you think of, so the message might not necessarily be to throw in the towel. If you're pursuing something or you're going for something and you just feel like you're getting curveballs at every turn, doesn't necessarily mean you throw in the towel, but it can be a good opportunity to pause and go, do I need to evaluate some things here? So in my newsletter this week, I listed a few questions here for you to consider when you're thrown some lemons. And, so if you think about if you're pursuing a goal, a dream, you want to take off on a new adventure, whatever it is you're pursuing, if you're getting a lot of lemons thrown your way, you can use it as an opportunity to pause and say, okay, is this dream still a fit for me? Or is this goal still a fit for me? Am I trying to make a square peg fit into a round hole here? If I'm getting all of these challenges, is it an indication of something that I should, pay attention to? So, Melissa and I visited that when we had this setback just last week, and we were like, okay, this tiny house has been a bitch to get off the ground, to get going, to make progress. And we were so excited at the progress that we made with this contractor, and to think that it has to be all taken down and started again is really disheartening. But it allowed us to have a conversation about, is this dream still a fit for each of us and for both of us? And we talked about it and we went, yeah, you know what? We want to take our home with us when we travel. We want to live more sustainably and more intentionally, and we want a house designed exactly for our needs. Every inch is earmarked for our specific needs. So we were like, yeah, we were both still excited at the idea. Neither of us were ready to throw in the towels, but it was a good opportunity to stop and go, is this still a fit? 'Cause it's like, yeah, it is. And then, another thing that I talk about in my newsletter this week is there any part of this goal, dream, adventure, whatever you're pursuing, that you're compromising on? And maybe this obstacle allows you to course correct a little bit. Again, for our example, since we have to completely dismantle the framing anyway, this gives us the opportunity to make a couple changes we wanted to make. Once we saw it framed, it's like we needed this big 3D vision board in order to see, like, that's not working for me, that's not working for me. So now we get to add a couple more windows and we get to redesign the roof line. So how we had it before, like the roof line was something that was really bugging me. I kept saying to Melissa, like, oh my God, it looks like a transformer. Like, I can't stand it. I really wish we did that part of the roof a different way, but it was kind of like, I don't know if we can at this point. So it was like, okay, you know what? That's something we were compromising on, that although this is a bunch of lemons we were tossed, that's certainly some sweet lemonade, is we now get to change that roof line. Has to come down anyways. So now, when I look at a mock-up that Melissa's done on the computer of the house with the new roof line, I love it. I'm like, oh my God, yes, I'm so glad. So, that's a positive with this. So thinking about, like, is there any part of the goal that you're pursuing that along the way you've compromised on, or maybe you wished you could have a do-over? That's what lemons can do sometimes. Curveballs, lemons, shit sandwiches, whatever you want to call them, they can give you the chance to have a do-over, even for part of it. So look and see what lemons you've been tossed today, or over the past couple weeks, someone mentioned, and say, okay, how could I have either handled that lemon differently? How could I have prevented that lemon? What can I do in the future to sidestep that same lemon? There's a lesson in everything, so it's making sure you're looking at what is the lesson in it. And really making sure, and I touched upon this a little bit, is this hurdle stirring up your inner victim? Yeah, happy accidents. Exactly, Lisa. Like, that's what this is. It totally sucks that we have to dismantle this house, but oh my God, am I glad we caught it when we did. We are so fortunate that it was only framed and sheathed with windows in. There were no insulation, no wiring that was run yet. So we're so fortunate that we weren't like driving down the highway, towing our house and having it fall apart. So that is a kind of a happy accident. Like, man, thank God we saw the couple things that we didn't like what this guy did that prompted us to then ask Melissa's brother to come take a more expert look at it. And once he pointed it out to us and we looked at it, I was like, how did we miss that? Like, holy crap. So yeah, it's a total blessing in disguise. And really, I know this is going to be a tough pill to swallow, but almost all lemons, and I'm trying to think if there's an exception, almost all lemons are a blessing in disguise. So, hey, Liv, almost all curveballs you're thrown in life are a blessing in disguise. It's just how you look at it. So, again, if you get caught up in that negativity cycle, or you get like really caught up, like this totally sucks, I can't believe it, this is bullshit, then it's really going to be hard to move beyond that. So you really want to say, is this obstacle or is this hurdle stirring up my inner victim, right? So if you find yourself saying things like, why does this always happen to me? Or nothing's ever easy, or I can't seem to catch a break, you're going to look to prove yourself right. So again, when you say those kinds of things, you are inviting your brain to validate those statements. So it's going to look for where you can't get a break. It's going to make sure that these things do always happen to you. And that's not like some crazy woo-woo shit. It's really like you will make decisions that support your thinking. So if your thinking is, I can't get a break, the decisions you make are going to support that. So you want to make sure that you shift what you say and how you say it, because every word you speak is an intention. And you want to be really careful about what intentions you're putting out there. Like what I say in the newsletter here is that the sweetest lemonade you can make is one that combines equal parts focus, courage, and support. Focus, courage, and support. So you can get back, when you're throwing these lemons, you can get back on track by identifying one small step you can take right now in response to the hurdle. When Melissa and I went through the tiny house debacle, we were like, okay, this totally sucks, but what is something we can do? Like I had to flip that script in my brain that was saying, we'll never find the help we need, this thing's never going to get done, blah, blah, blah. So to flip that script and to take action and to disprove that negative thinking, I focused on what is our very next step. What is one thing we need to do next to move this forward? Melissa reached out to people and asked for help, to which they agreed. And we got clearer and clearer on the order of our punch list. So we were forced into some more clarity as a result of this absolute shit show that happened. But it really has shown us again how resourceful we are, where we were maybe falling short. Neither of us are really great at asking for help. We don't want to bother anyone. We feel like everyone's too busy, and who would want to take time out of their lives to help us? Like all that shit we tell ourselves, right? But to prove that thinking wrong, she reached out and asked some people and said, hey, if we were to put a work weekend together, would you be willing to come help us? And so far, no one's turned her down. So when those thoughts come up, you want to challenge them. That I can't get a break, nothing ever works out for me, nothing ever turns out the way it should. Be careful when you say that stuff, because you will prove yourself right again and again. So I'm just checking here. Yeah, Sarah says, I agree. Totally. So I'd love it. I know Mary and Leah Marie, I think, both mentioned here about having a lot of lemons thrown at them lately. If you'd be willing to share a little bit more about that, and, how maybe some of these concepts are helping you to look at it in a different way. It's always, as I say every week, right? These ideas and concepts can land so much more solidly when they can be packaged in a real life example. That's why I keep bringing up the tiny house example. So you can see like, oh, okay, I see what she means by shutting down the negative talk, and by disproving any kind of victimhood, and by identifying, what is one small step that you can take to right your course when you're throwing a curveball. yeah, and the other important piece that I just thought of is, if you do stay, and I touched upon this a little bit earlier, but by staying in that poor me loop or that negative cycle, you want to, if you really look at what's the payout to that, that's also going to help you knock yourself out of it. And oftentimes people stay in that cycle because they just don't know what to do next, and what they come up with are just too big. So you have to really take things down to a much smaller step. You'll be more apt to take action. So Leah Marie says, my son's food allergies, his speech delay, getting an evaluation for early intervention, and trying to figure out if I'm burnt out at my current job. Yeah, okay, so those are some lemons, right? So if you think about any of those, really, I mean, while they are all challenges, I don't know, each of those things, as challenging as they are, there are concrete actions you can take on each. I mean, you already are with the speech delay. You're getting an evaluation for early intervention. His food allergies. So it's what is one small next step I can take to help to either educate myself more about his food allergies, to change his diet, to help him feel better, anything. Yeah, I'm glad to know his allergies and how to prevent them. Great. Yeah, so that's the flip side of the coin, right? While it may be a lemon that you even have to deal with food allergies with your son, you know them and you know how to prevent them. And so, so you get a little creative in the food you prepare for him. And maybe, whatever he's allergic to, you start to eat less in your own life, and maybe that's for the better. I'm just making shit up right now, but really think about, what is the lemonade out of this lemon? I'm trying to find support groups. Yeah, oh my God, for kids with food allergies, it's so common these days. I bet you can find some really great ones. And, whether they're Facebook groups or groups off of Facebook, although it seems like most are on Facebook now. But again, like I said before, you want to be really selective with who you put around you as support. So if you do find a group, let's say, and you leave that group, either whether it's virtually or not feeling better, but instead feeling worse or whatever, be selective. Give yourself permission to bail and go, nope, I'm out of this group. Because you don't know who the people are in the group, right? I mean, my guess is they're going to be super supportive because they're facing the same challenges with their kids as you are. But yeah, so that's a great idea. Get some support around it. There's always the opportunity for us to learn more, educate ourselves more, find an easier way. That's kind of the mantra, and this actually works perfectly for you, Leah Marie, and Mary. Divorce, rental property, I'm almost done owning. Sometimes when I feel really up against it and I'm super challenged and I'm like, oh my God, I can't take anymore, I'll stop and I'll just ask myself, what if it were easy? What if it were easy? What if handling my son's food allergies was easy? What if getting his speech evaluated was easy? What if finalizing this divorce was actually easy? Again, what we look for, we find. And so, Mary, wouldn't it be so cool to find evidence that the divorce can be easier than it currently is? Whatever it is that's changing it, that's challenging it for you. I just see Judy here. Leah Marie, Joan Borisenko has written an informative book on being burnt out called Fried. Oh, nice. It's a great resource. Thanks, Judy. Yeah, so you can look at, what if the situation was actually easy? We already know it's challenging, right? My tiny house stuff is challenging. If the food allergies with your son is challenging, the divorce and the rental property, these can absolutely be challenging because they take a lot of effort and energy. But just by asking yourself, but what if it was easy? What would that even look like? Will give you really good insight into what it is that you need that you may not be getting right now. Geez, my divorce would be easy if we could just agree to the conditions, or if I had one person who really got what I was going through, who I could talk to about this, and they could just hold safe space for me. instead of giving me a bunch of advice, let's say. So by asking yourself, what if this was easy? What would it look like if this was easy is going to be so telling to what you're lacking that's making it difficult. Does that make sense? So Leah Marie, it's a perfect example with the speech delay. If it was easy, you'd be able to find a professional to evaluate him, and you already have. So you're handling it really, really well. So Mary's dad says, this too shall pass, so I keep reminding myself of those words. Yeah, it's true. You know, it will absolutely pass. And when we think about, like, how much time we spend spinning our wheels on something that has a really short shelf life, we waste so much time, right? So those are wise words from your dad, Mary. This too shall pass, this too shall pass, because it will. And in the meantime, you can really take exceptional care of yourself. Like, instead of just holding your breath and waiting for it to pass and then exhaling, you can remind yourself that this too shall pass, and in the meantime, what can I do to take care of myself? You know, I think that's the important piece that a lot of us forget. We just think we got to suck it up, hold our breath, get through it, and then exhale on the other side. What if exhaling sooner and taking care of ourselves during it actually got us to the other side faster? I guarantee you it would. Yeah, he's pretty smart. He is a smart man. I remember him. Yeah, okay, good. So, you know, I think that's what I've experienced so far. I mean, really, it's been, I don't know, Melissa, has it been a week since the tiny house debacle? It's been about a week, and I know that I get to the other side of it faster because I'm like, okay, you know what, this will pass. How can I make the passage of it a little bit easier on myself? And so you can reach out for support. You can look for some more information. Like, part of what helps me feel better is the gathering of information. So before I heard back from the contractor that he was agreeing to give us our money back, I had already looked up how to file a small claims case in court. Melissa and I rehearsed how to be on Judge Judy because we love Judge Judy and we know exactly how she likes her people to behave. So we weren't going to, raise our hand when the other person was talking. We wouldn't hand her a piece of paper and start talking while she was trying to read. So we know how to handle Judge Judy. So I thought, you know what? That's what we're going to do. Hey, Jack, welcome. Yeah, it is. Oh, Francesca, it totally is. Isn't it all about the journey? Absolutely. It totally is all about the journey. But we're so used to white knuckling it through the journey that we just want to get to the other end. And it's like, shit, you missed so much of the good stuff in the journey. Like, there were so many lessons and opportunities, and that's exactly what I'm talking about here is when you're fed a shit sandwich, looking and seeing man, what is it I can do? Thank you so much for the hearts and the thumbs up. Really appreciate it. What can I do to stop eating it? It's a really gross analogy, but really, what can you do to make this time easier for you so it can pass more quickly? It's such a great opportunity to be as present for the journey as possible. And I know it's our tendency to just want to close our eyes, white knuckle it, and get through it. But we miss so much because inevitably, and I'm sure you've all experienced this, that you think that there's this path you're going down. And if you stay present for the journey, then you see all of these side roads that you wouldn't have seen before that might get you there faster, be more fun, lead you to someplace even cooler you didn't know was an option. If you're just so focused on this one brass ring and you're not willing to evaluate along the way, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities that might lead you to so much more cool things. I mean, I always say the universe always dreams a bigger dream for yourself than you ever could for yourself. So, yeah, keep present in the journey, for sure. No, I missed a comment. I thought I saw Christine write something. Melissa, did you?
She just said yes with exclamation points.
Oh, I thought there was a. I thought she said something. Yeah, yeah. So, so yeah. If any of you have an example of where, you've course corrected in your journey because you were present enough to do so. Like I know, oh gosh, who was it? I think it was Sandy earlier. Oh, Sharon. Yeah, Sharon earlier, who said that your positive thinking has really helped 2017 be really great so far. So if you can share more about that, Sharon, that would be great. Like, are you doing like daily gratitudes? One thing I am doing now is I'm listing my successes that I just started doing, and I thought, man, when I looked back over my successes just from the weekend, I did a lot. Like it was a very productive weekend when I thought I was, just being a total lazy ass. So yeah, so I'd love to hear more from you, Sharon. Christy, today I said to myself, I am so sick of wishing my life away. Oh yeah. Like wishing the work week away to get through to the weekend. Totally, Christy. Oh my God, I bet so many people here can relate to you. Wishing our life away is such an indication of dissatisfaction in our day-to-day lives. And so instead of wishing your week away, waiting for the weekend so you can be happy for a couple of days, really look to see, Christy and everyone, is there something I can do on that day, each day that helps me to be a little bit happier? If there's some way that you can make your work day better, if there's something you can do after work that is self-nurturing, maybe it's a bubble bath or, going to a yoga class or watching, guilty pleasure TV. Which totally reminds me. I think it's the Bachelor finale tonight, is it? Oh yeah, my DVR is recording. So, anyway, yeah, that's one of my guilty pleasures, right? I don't even like this season, and I'm watching the damn thing. But anyway, I don't know. I really liked Nick, but now I'm like, meh. I digress. So, like, what is something you can look forward to every day? And it doesn't have to be anything huge. Like, I think so many people do that. They, again, hold their breath during the work week, and then they exhale on the weekends. When it's like, man, it's, while it's good to have things to look forward to, I'd hate to think that you're suffering through 5 days to enjoy 2. That is a large percentage of your year that you're holding your breath for. So, Christy, I'd encourage you to just think about what is something, even if it's like twice a week, Monday through Friday, something in there. Maybe you go to a movie by yourself. Maybe you, I don't read, or I don't know, whatever is enjoyable for you. Again, it doesn't have to be like monumental. But the fact that you've already recognized and identified that you hold your breath, you kind of suck it up for the week, looking forward to the weekend, tells me that there is opportunity for adjustments in your week. And I know there are people who are super busy. They might work 10-hour days and come home to kids, and I get it. I know that there's a lot of obstacles, but that doesn't mean you're worth trying hard for. So I'd love for you to think about what is one thing that you could give yourself during the week, at least once, maybe twice, 3 times a week, so you're not hating it. Because, like, let's say, for instance, that you're in a job that you hate. I'm just going to make this up. Staying in that cycle of hating the job that you're in and hanging on to the frustration about it or the negativity about it actually keeps you there longer. If you really want to free yourself from the imprisonment that you're feeling about whatever in your life, you've got to loosen your grip on it. It like literally can't let you go if you don't let it go. And this is what I mean, is that you can start to do little things throughout the week that feel really self-nurturing and self-loving, that lets that part of you who feels like she has to suck it up all week feel cared for. And the more cared for she feels, the more she can loosen her grip on the drama or the stress in your life. And then the more free you become to even find a new job if that's the case. So, oh great, Sharon shared some things here about how she keeps her positive attitude. She says, I do many different things. I start my day drumming to inspirational music. Oh yeah, she sent me her drum. So cool. I think I put it in a comment in one of the videos. She meditates. She uses EFT tapping. She has a sleep machine for soothing noises to relax, read, journaling. It helps when I'm not working and have time. Photography and nature also help. All right, so see, look, Christy, you can pull some ideas from there. And again, I don't want anyone reading that to dismiss it just because she's not working right now. You can find time for those things. And actually, Sharon, I'm glad you brought up the tapping thing, because I did want to mention that. For those of you who aren't familiar with tapping or emotional freedom technique, there is a fantastic summit going on right now. It's in its last couple days, but it's one of those like free online summits that you register for, and you get to hear some interviews of people who talk about tapping and how it can help you. I had sent an email out to my newsletter subscribers a couple days ago about it, that it's kind of like acupuncture without the needles. And so it helps to move the energy in your body where it feels stuck, which I'll tell you, when life throws you lemons like this, you can definitely use some EFT to keep that moving. So I am going to pause for 1 second. I'm just going to put a link in the comments section. So if you all wanted to check out that summit, you can. I've got it right here. One moment, please. It's really cool. Like, EFT has totally helped me. Like, I'm a fearful flyer. Totally has helped me with that. It can help you release pain, anxiety, weight, fear. It's pretty freaking amazing. It can feel silly, like if you're not familiar with it and you're going to check it out. It can feel super silly, but it totally works. All right, now just clearly I cannot do two things at once. One moment, please. Oh, because I'm on the wrong page. I swear I'm coming right back. Here we go. There it is. Now I'm on board. That's fun. Okay. So that is the link to the Tapping World Summit. I'm going to pin that up top as well. But really check that out. There, like I said, there are a couple free days left, so you can listen to some audios. And what's cool about it is that not only does it talk about what tapping is, it actually takes you through a sequence of tapping so you can release some of those things. So yeah, definitely check that out. And if there are any interviews that you missed, they have an upgrade package where you can purchase the whole summit and you'll get all of the audios and a whole bunch of ridiculously generous bonuses. It's nuts. So it's a great event. I love the whole tapping thing. So check that out. It's awesome. Somehow I put it in there twice today. Okay. So Christine says, I try to find pleasure in the ordinary things or the things I have to do. If I'm going to have daily coffee, it will be darn good coffee. Yeah. If I have a meeting I'm dreading, I wear an outfit that feels like a power suit, even if it's my favorite yoga pants because I work from home. I love it. Oh my God. That's so, Christine, I love that. That's so great. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a perfect example for you, Christy, is when you like, if there are things you do every day, like the coffee thing is a perfect example, right? If you're going to have a cup of coffee every day, make it really good. Or if you have a long commute to work, let's say, play some really good music on the way, or some like really cool podcasts or audio programs. There are things you can do every single day to brighten yourself up a little bit more. So, I mean, Christine lists some awesome examples there. I swear some comments show up on my phone, but then when I look here,
That happens to me too.
they're gone.
See what Christy said about your sister?
It just says I found you through the summit. That's all I see.
And then it says, and your sister, I think.
Oh, cool. Hey, Christy. Hey, Christy. Yeah, that's one of the comments that showed up on my phone and not.
Yeah, it's weird.
So Lisa.
Trying to see if there's any others.
It's so strange how. So forgive me if I'm not responding to some of your comments. I'm going to refresh here to see if I'm getting them all.
I think you've gotten them all. At least according to what I have.
Well, Lisa Bolta just said something about her dog that is not. Come on.
Oh, nope, not showing up on mine either.
What the hell? All right, I'm going to try to see it on my. This ought to be fun. Bear with me for a second as I point my finger at all of you. It's fun. Son of a bitch. Sorry. So spiritual. Okay, so, Christy, I can't see. Oh, I found you through the summit and your sister, I think. There you are. Now they're showing up. Here we go. Lisa, my dog Willow thinks I'm just awesome. Hanging with her makes me feel great. She totally thinks you're awesome. I've met your dog, and she is your shadow. And I love that. Like, that's something, right? So if life threw you some lemons and you're having a shitty day, oh my God, look at Willow and go, okay, seriously, I kick ass because Willow is up my ass. But no, Willow thinks I'm pretty cool. So yeah, that's a great example. So be awesome, Christy. Like, think about, I'd love it if you have some examples that are coming up for you now, Christy, if you'd share it here. Like, what is something on your work day, during the weekday, that you can really enjoy? Like, I keep coming back to that coffee example. I love that because that's pretty simple and easy, right? Like, if you're going to have coffee, make it a really good cup. Or, yeah, like, give yourself something really, treat yourself each and every day is what I want to say. Okay. I think I have hit, just checking all the comments one last time. Ah, Francesca, thank you. Some call it authentic, some call it crass, whatever. I'm just kidding. No, it's just me. But thank you. I really appreciate you guys sharing this time with me. I know I say that every week, but I really do. I know you have a lot of choices of how to spend your time, so I think it's really cool that you want to spend any of it with moi. All right, cool. So I think I'm going to wrap up there, but I'm just going to hang for another minute or two in case anyone has any thoughts, questions, suggestions for how people can make some lemonade out of those lemons. Again, sign up for my newsletter, kerryrichandson.com. The topics I write I email that every Monday, and then I expand upon that topic on Monday night. And again, if you have any suggestions for topics, you can just email me, kerry@kerryrichandson.com. Be happy to take some newsletter topic ideas, some Facebook Live ideas, and explore them. Really want to support you. I think it's just really important that we all support each other. So please feel free to email me. Share this video, even though we're wrapping up. You can share the recording with your friends and family. I think that the more people we get having these kinds of conversations, the better our world will be. So subscribe to my videos. I think and check out the Tapping World Summit. Really, check out that link. Listen to some of the recordings. I think, the ones for today are done because they stop at 8 p.m. Eastern, but there's some more tomorrow. So check out that link for the World Summit, the Tapping World Summit. Christy, really glad you came too. Christine, thank you. Sarah, Lee Marie, Francesca, Sharon, Christy, I think I already said, Mary, and anyone who didn't comment, Lisa Bolter, who I don't see here. Thank you so much for joining me. And
Barb Goodman.
Who?
Barb Goodman.
Oh, Barb Goodman. I didn't see her. Hey, Barb. Sometimes people join just like the comments, and it doesn't pop up. So if I didn't say hello, I apologize. It's because you're in hiding, and I don't get to see you. Cool. So thanks, everybody. Thanks so much, and we will talk next week, same time, same place. Again, feel free. Send along some topic suggestions, and let's keep making some sweet lemonade. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.